People have always dreamt about the future. We have the desire to wonder what it will be like, and sadly, we often assume it will be better. Filled with optimism, for example, the futurists of the early to mid 20th century dreamed of a utopia with flying cars and nuclear-powered paradise. Yet these futures never came. This was Mark Fisher's idea of hauntology. The lost futures of the past remain observable in the present and serve as a stark reminder on the stagnation and stifling of optimism, which Fisher attributed to the continuation of capitalism that stifles true innovation. But what were the lost futures of one UK electronic musician, Burial, and what did Fisher have to say about them? First, we have to start on who Burial is. For a long time, this was a trickier question than it seems. Even after his critically acclaimed album Untrue from 2007, he never revealed his identity. There was much speculation of who he was, with people even claiming he was a persona from the similarly critically lauded Richard D. James, who you may better know as Aphex Twin. But this didn't make much sense. The music of Burial has a flavour more akin to the scenes of garage or jungle music, but stripped back and removed of the intensity and high energy. It sounded completely fresh and something new, adding to the explorations into electronica Richard James had previously made. It was revealed in 2008 that Burial was William Emmanuel Bevan, which he revealed on his MySpace. This was ahead of his nomination for the Mercury Music Awards. Bevan doesn't let much of his private life known, with few photos of his face existing on the internet. This is obviously on purpose, as the focus for him is on the music. Despite this, his music is deeply personal, in the sense it is not shy of evoking heavy emotional response. The music is dark and brooding, yet it keeps many drum patterns of the music Burial admits to be his main influence, being jungle and garage. Not only this, but his music, despite being lyricless in the traditional sense, contains the distorted vocal samples, typically of a female voice, that was common in a lot of jungle, using it to enrich and create a unique soundscape that may once have been familiar and soothing, but in the hands of Burial, it becomes melancholy and nostalgic. In short, he is taking a genre primarily made for illegal warehouse raves in the city, curated for substance-fueled dancing, and turning it into a different kind of art. It is a reflection of his youth spent raving, living, and enjoying the city scene. This fits the bill of hauntology completely. It is a nostalgic reflection of what a young UK city dweller once experienced and cherished. Burial himself said that, "I was brought up on old jungle tunes and garage tunes that had lots of vocals in, but me and my brothers loved intense, darker tunes too. I found something I could believe in, but sometimes I used to listen to the ones with vocals on my own, and it was almost a secret thing. My brother might bring back these records that seemed really adult to me, and I couldn't believe I had them. It was like when you first saw Terminator or Alien when you're only little. I'd get a rush from it. I was hearing this other world." Now this childlike passion for the genre still remains, but the child is gone. The optimistic future lost. What remains is just a haunting. It is instead now just a memory of what the future could have been. Mark Fisher had a fascination with Burial, often writing about him in his blogs. He was himself a fan of electronic music, and being from the UK and growing up in similar times, enjoyed similar genres. Furthermore, Fisher was a blogger and loved to write about music, so his intellectual analysis of Burial had time to grow and develop. Burial's London is a wounded city, populated by ecstasy casualties on day release from psychiatric units, disappointed lovers on night buses, parents who can't quite bring themselves to sell their rave 12 inches at a car boot sale, all of them with haunted looks on their faces, but also haunting their interpassively nihilist kids with the thought that things weren't always like this. The creative energy of the raving scene has been lost, instead taken by a wave of nihilistic youths with little energy at all. Fisher continues to say, "Ravers have become deadbeats, and Burial's beats are accordingly undead. Like the tick-tock of an off-kilter metronome in an abandoned Silent Hill school, the clack-clack of graffiti-splashed ghost trains idling in sidings. Burial is creating music that is mourning what the youth has become, with the subtext of the sorrow often heard by those getting older. It was better in my day." One of the key ways Burial evokes such feelings is through the use of crackling sounds throughout his music. It reminds you that the music is physical, not some immaterial, perfectly clean mix existing in the ether, but rather a relic of its time that has survived and distorted to reach your ears. To conclude, Burial's music is definitely worth the listen if you haven't already. Tracks I would recommend are Archangel from his album Untrue and Southern Comfort from his self-titled work. As for Fisher, his thoughts on Burial are all over the internet in his blogs, some of which are compiled, along with discussion on a plethora of other topics, in the book Ghosts of My Life. Thank you for listening, and remember to like and subscribe.